Live, sir.
Good evening and welcome you all for yet another show on Let's Hear My School. This should be around the 14th or the 15th episode of ours, and we have been bringing principals across the country, sharing her or his views on handling schools in different ways. And today also we have a special guest who will be introduced to you all a little later. We have once again, we have our Swamiji, Brahmachari Maheshwar Chaitanya ji, and people who have not met him early, especially the newcomers to this episode, or even whatever you call it as let us hear my school. Swamiji is a BCom graduate, but then had his post-graduation in computer application, master's in computer application. And I was just been talking to our chief guest today, and he is a person with a lot of technology brilliance inside his brain, and then any problems on technicality where you go and goof up, he's there always to help us out. So, and of course, his smartness and his skill is all on programming, and he is also the regional director for ICPC, right, the most wanted programming competition, and he has been into programming for quite some time, into competition, bringing in a lot of students of Amrita and other colleges, and making this competition a successful one. And it's again not out of place for me to mention that Swamiji was awarded the Best Leadership Award in the year 2016 for his contribution of almost more than 1 decade of his programming. So congratulations to Swamiji for this particular feat. I'm sure that much more laurels and feathers will fall onto your cap in the future years with, of course, the blessings of Amma. Now, currently he is the chairman for admissions into Amrita School of Engineering. He is also the deputy controller of exams for Amrita School of Engineering, Amritapuri campus, and 111222. I won't take much of the time, but then let's have the usual invocation, the prayers to Amma for her blessings, and over to Swamiji for seeking the blessings of our chancellor. And whatever we are here today is because of the blessing of Amma. I'm sure the prayers will certainly be heard by the Almighty, and next few months we are back to normal with across the world that people live happy and joyful. So again, all of you are waiting for our guest who is going to talk to us, and I'd like to introduce her, but the introduction will be done by her through a few of my questions to her before we start this session on creativity in school leadership as well as competency-based planning. So here we have with us a special guest known to most of us, and people who are still not met her or still not had an acquaintance with her. She's Dr. Deepa Chandran, who is the senior principal of Sri Sharada Vidyalaya, Cochin. And the best part of her profile is that she has been awarded the National Best Teacher in the year 2016. 2000, which year is that? I'm sorry, which year is that, ma'am? 2000? Which year was your which year were you awarded the National Best Teacher?
Krish, Professor, can you hear me?
No, I just want you to tell me that which year were you given the National Best Teacher Award? 2000.
I was awarded for the year 2016.
2016. So okay, my memory. All right.
I received it in the year 2017.
All right, fine. So my memory is right because I'm getting younger and younger day by day. So my memory is going off and off, you know. Okay. So, I mean, let's have you here I just want to ask you before we kickstart this session on creativity for school leadership, the first session. I just want to know about your journey in the field of education. To begin with, what really triggered you to be a teacher? Was it just by chance? Was it by a choice? Or you call yourself as an accidental teacher, or you had that passion towards teaching from your school days? We all would like to know, how did you start this, and where did you go and do your degree or schooling degree, then your B.Ed, and which school to what school, what school to what school, and today you are here with Sri Sarada Vidyalaya. So over to you, ma'am, and let's hear your journey in the field of education. Over to you, ma'am. Welcome you on behalf of Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham once again, and we are indeed honored to have your presence for us for the next 60 minutes of this. Let's hear my school. Thank you so much.
Namaste to all of you. Pranam at the lotus feet of Amma and Swamiji, and also Professor Krish. It's a great opportunity for me to present on behalf of this Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, an organization which stands tall, and being a mother of a daughter who is pursuing her studies under the Amrita Medical College. I'm more privileged to be here today. Actually, my father was an IFS officer, so it was an opportunity for me to travel across India and study in very many Kendriya Vidyalayas. And it is a great opportunity also. It was a great opportunity for me, which I think has enlightened me a lot and it given me a lot of experiences. So I studied in Kendriya Vidyalayas of Calcutta, Chandigarh and Punjab, and then came up to
Swamiji, are you able to hear?
For my degree economics and then PG from the Department of Economics, Karyavatam. And I in this oral 12th, I think I was a second rank holder in my 12th. And are you able to hear?
Are you able to hear? Because there's a slight break in what she's saying, but it's clear with you, Swamiji, which means I will have some problems with my net also. It's clear with you, right?
Yeah, it's clear with me, but sometimes it is breaking.
Okay, maybe that net is. See, even now.
My MA literature also.
Okay.
A B.Ed from the Government Training College. And after my MA results were not out for, it was late, but the Kerala University had some problem at that time. And when the results were late, my father asked me to just pursue the B.Ed college. And I wanted to be in the administration, and I was trying for my civil service. I was so passionate about it. So, but when I went for my classes in the teaching period of B.Ed, I realized that my passion is to this, and the takeaways which I took from the teaching practice time is what I am today. And that's how I got passionate about teaching. And when I started working, I didn't want to even to move out to colleges. I felt the school is a platform where I enjoyed, and that is how the journey all started. And I worked with Shabdagiri groups for some years with Bharati Vidya Bhavan. I have done a lot of affiliation inspections also. That was with even Amrita schools are there. So I was able to, on that purpose to travel and get myself trained, and highly blessed to get my CBSE Best Teacher Principal Award in 2013, which was given in 2014 and 2017 by the President's Award. And it's my passion, and it's also I enjoy doing it, and I always feel that this profession is the one, because you can use all your desires which was not filled in your school days. Maybe this provides you a platform to fill it, because you work with children always. And another most important thing is, when you are with the children, you always stay young.
Wonderful. Ma'am, nice to hear, in the sense that you had won the CBSE Best Teacher Award in the year 2012, and also the National Best Teacher Award from the President of our country in 2016. Good news, and I think it's just the beginning of you receiving laurels and recognitions in your field of education, and I'm sure that blessings of Almighty, you will be able to move further heights in the years to come, no doubt about it. Ma'am, what was your reaction when you came to know that you've been selected as the Best National Teacher Award? I mean, what was your immediate reaction? I'm sure if you were sleeping, you would have jumped out of your bed, or, I don't want to take it further.
I remember somebody, I mean, I got a call from Delhi and I remember asking them, I just thought, they said, ma'am, you are considered for an award. And so first thing which I thought was, I just asked them which award. So they said, ma'am, it's like I asked them whether it is mentoring award or not, because for my CBSE awards, we receive, I thought, first of all, because I was, I knew because there was different stages and nominations were there, and I knew that I'm in the last, but I never expected this to come. But for the President's award, actually it happened that I asked them, is it a mentoring award? What is this award? And then they said it's President Award. For some time I was stuck because it's really a God's blessing, because you may have many performers like me and there are people who are equally good, but then that needs an extra blessings from God, I believe, and of course the blessings from parents. And I felt happy, but the responsibility increases because people look at you at that angle.
That's fine. That's fine. So nice to hear that. And now it's my time to keep my mouth shut and hand over the microphone to Somaji for his few clarifications. So he will lead the talk now. Somaji, over to you for your clarifications.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. Basically, the last the phrase you told in the beginning when you introduce yourself, staying young with the kids. That is something which is very important, especially during this time. And you seem to be very specialist in the creativity, learning and creativity. So how do you think, or what is the vital role played by this creativity part of the mind in this specific pandemic situation? Because we see the teachers are using the refrigerator tray, keeping the mobile under the refrigerator tray and make sure that the students are not, just left like that, and trying their best to educate the children. So what is the role of creativity?
Swamiji, I personally feel, when we talk about creative leadership, there is a situation where we have to understand that we are coming into a stage where VUCA is there, where is volatility, and that era when there are challenges and complex problems from around. So creative leadership is the combination of creativity, that is the ability to generate the ideas with leadership and the ability to execute them through the action of others. What actually separates the creative leader from the non-creative leader is their ability to generate and execute innovative ideas. I always feel that I am not full of ideas. It is like my team also has ideas. So as a creative leader, you have to, what I feel is that you need to collect the creativity from every other person and pull together and make it in such a way that you are able to inspire others, and that everyone of every level in the organization is a leader. We have to believe that everyone at every level in the organization is a leader, and that leader must know themselves, and they should be also alert to their failings and graces, and to better serve the organization. And that only by mastering this complexity. When you talk about creative, see, this is a pandemic situation, and we always think how everyone thinks, it's pandemic, online sessions, so nothing much to do. But I always think, I always make my team think and brainstorm that there is something different which we can think of, make it so energetic for the children to come and join the online sessions, and how it can be made also. And that we have to have innovative strategies. It's not that I alone can be creative and I can create an atmosphere of creative leadership. Actually, it is that everyone at every level in the organization should be encouraged to think. And that is what I feel the person should be trying to bring about a revolutionary change. Am I okay with?
No, you're not okay. You're very much okay. Okay. Yeah. Swamiji, I mean, what about your next? Or you want to take one in the middle, or what is your plan of action?
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and what is there is, we talk about creative writing, then there should be creative leading also should be there. Once I happened to read leading authoritatively as a creative is best example is Steve Jobs was talked about. Leading creatively as an authoritative person, some of there I have read it's Barack Obama was the right person to be called like that. So it's like It's not about your creativity, it's about your team's creativity. You may not be creative, but you need to understand the creativity, the diversity, and then identify the strength and weaknesses of your team. And most importantly, I always felt that you have to trust your people and ready to embrace this failure also, and you should be able to encourage the debate. You have to champion the ideas and make the ideas come true. Of course, at times when we may fall, but that is also a learning. That's what I feel what is needed as a creative leader. And today I was happy when I was listening to today morning. We had a session from the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi ji, addressing the teachers in this session, where he said that we have to actually, the teachers are the people who have to take this flagship. And I think the creative people have to take up this idea, that is, and where he was stressing on, thinking is to be encouraged, and the learning beyond the classroom. So all these things needs creativity at that end. That's what I personally feel, Swamiji.
Okay, so there is something behind, that is, what is a future? I can see future, but what is just above that? What is it? Forging the future. Okay.
Yeah.
I believe that is also a part of creativity.
Yes.
Or applying creativity. You are trying to do something with for the future of the children or something like that. Okay.
Yes, because
yeah.
Yes. Yes, Swamiji.
So what I thought. See now irrespective of whether we like or not, the teachers are forced to embrace the technology, right?
Yes, yes.
So you have a lot of solutions now. You have a lot of
Yes.
solutions at your fingertips. Let it be in your laptop or tablet or mobile. You have a lot of solutions. So how is it possible for you to encourage the teachers or train the teachers to get the right solutions for the problems they face, and how do you implement that through creativity? Because I have a lot of solutions in front of me. Let us say I want to teach a mathematics course online. So I have Microsoft Teams or Google Meet or whatever. So how is it that possible for you to train the teachers? Because I see that the upcoming education or the national education policy, it needs a lot of creativity as well as leadership, right? That is what I understand. Yes. So how do you think that it can be applied effectively across the teachers?
So at my level, Swamiji, what I do in my school is, of course, what I personally feel that any other profession has not drastically changed and needed this much of brainstorming and this time of change as we teachers had to undergo. Because every other profession, they had to either tie the mask and keep the distance and all. But for the teaching, as we all know, including me, when I talk about, we were not aware of this much of technological use as we come and do it now. Now, the first thing which I experimented, usually when the online, I remember, I think it was there in the newspaper discussions also, when the government announced that there will be, there will not be exams from the exams for the children last year in the final exams. Immediately I thought, why we don't take the stakeholders and take it, even though we don't have exams as far as the rule says, but then why don't we have something differently? And that's how I went on to take the support of the parents and make them also had a session to how to handle the the testing or assessment at home, and help the teachers and school to conduct it. And I think it did very well also. Same way, something which we talked differently, so when the teachers started, we had to do a lot of brainstorming, a lot of training programs, and then a lot of tools under this Google Meet or Microsoft Teams, or how to make the class interesting. Like if you have to teach a mathematical concept through content sharing platforms, through content boards, through Pedlight, through mentees, and through these different tools are there now, which we are empowering our teachers. Every opportunity I make use of on these platforms itself to train my teachers and to see that they learn new techniques, because children are this generation and we are all migrants, so we have to catch up to their attention. So if we have to catch up to their attention, we have to go an extra mile to train ourselves and make the classes interesting. And there also, I personally feel the pedagogy of the teacher has to change according to the change in the platform. When it is online classes, the pedagogy has to suit the online. And even in the online sessions, I personally feel some of the social and emotional skills we are not able to do it when you are not in a group. But otherwise, if the teachers are empowered, these sessions can be made more interesting. And that's how we do it in our school. When you said the forging the future, here also my concept, what is written on behind my the screen, is that we talk about environmental. So for example, if we want to get it across to the children in the platform, we have different modes now, like we have videos, we have they can present on the online. We are doing every activity which happens in the school through online. So I think as we always say, Swamiji, that there is a saying which always I keep so close to my heart. When the caterpillar thought that the world has come to an end, the butterfly was born. So naturally, this is a challenge, and we have learned many new things.
Oh, okay, ma'am. As you rightly said, I know that because I used to teach for 10-15 years. I used to teach, and the most affected category in the entire world is teachers only. Because other professionals had one way or the other to make sure that their work was going on. And I believe that the actual workload and effort of the teachers might have doubled, or at least 3 times it has increased.
Yes,
so creation of PowerPoint slides and preparing the lectures, etc. So now coming to the next question. This is my last question. In fact, you are expert in, I believe you are expert in competency-based learning, right? Competency-based or outcome-based?
Yes, outcome-based learning. Right.
Outcome-based learning. So let us say in this current situation, it is very tough to assess or evaluate any student, right?
Yes.
And what I feel is that it is more and more effort for the teacher to do a real outcome-based education, or apply the outcome-based concept to assess a student, to make sure that whatever intention the teacher had, or whatever expectation the teacher had, that has to come from the child or the student. So how is it possible in the current situation that you can apply competency learning? And I firmly believe that this is the best time to apply it. But at the same time, there is an increased effort from the teacher side. So what is your take on that?
Samij, what I personally feel is that, as when we say that sharpening of axe is the story, which is very famous and every one of us know that it's a very famous story. I don't want to repeat this, but still, I just have to say that means that, you have to sharpen your axe to perform better. In the same way, when it comes to the online platform, when outcome based is there, we are mostly our teachers and our faculties concentrate on the content matter more. That is the main part that we move away from the outcome based, because we are always thinking about covering the portion more than uncovering what is needed for the child and where we have to concentrate. So as a teacher, I always felt that the faculties, of course, they have to prepare the PowerPoint, as you said, a lot of work is needed. But then when outcome based learning is being encouraged, we have to change the pedagogy. And as a teacher, I personally feel if you are able to understand the 30 students in your classroom, the learning abilities, you have to understand that the pace of learning of every child is different, and we should be at the, I mean, from the beginning to, if we have a 40 minutes of to see that this content what we have made it, the child is able to come out with the outcome we have planned. Usually when we the outcomes are planned, what I personally feel, there is a concept called SMART. That is, you have to be specific, you should have to be measurable, it's an attainable, and it should be the reliable one, and it's be time bound. So this is how we have to, you know, base our learning outcomes. We should not, I mean, when the teachers do it when in unrealistic way, when it is not specific, we don't reach the outcome and we are not able to assess. And one more thing which I have to make it clear at this here is that, you know, assessment can be done and we can reach up to the learning outcome during the course of our our session, our dealing with the child in an online platform also, because in the due course of time, when we have a methodology or pedagogy which we have adopted in our online session, and every step we have assessment for planning, off planning, and assessment should be formative. Along with your learning, it should happen. We always think from the assessment, we talk about assessment, we always think from the end point of the summative assessment. Actually, assessment can happen among peers, assessment can happen among, your group A or group B, or assessment can happen when at every step, and that is through different methodologies or formative things which is done in the sessions, in the class session, and you will be able to understand that what the learning outcome you have planned, if that is with the child or not. If we are not able to get that learning outcome doesn't mean its objective, doesn't mean that is only the session, the content of it, what the value you are giving, what is the attitude we are giving, everything comes under this competency-based education. So I remember, Swamiji, that is, in my of the few classes which I had as a child, as was so enriching that it gives to me an outcome which I even use it now in my everyday situations. So it's like how you outcome is based, it comes only when you modulate your pedagogy, when you modulate your methodology, and you do the assessment during the time when the sessions are going on, and on the basis you have to take a remedial step so that the outcome is enriching for you. That's how we have to plan. Where you plan, if you plan wonderfully well, the planning time is what is needed from the side of a faculty or a teacher, or what you call an inspirer. I usually don't call teachers as teachers, I call them as inspirers, because they are to inspire the learning. You have to teach the child how to learn. It is, how to learn by themselves. That's what we have to use in the pedagogy. That's what I personally feel.
It's right, ma'am. Whatever you said is right, only because when I used to teach, I remember the time and effort I took to plan my lectures and the assignments. So that definitely it is correct, only. So thank you, ma'am, for answering the questions wonderfully. I hope we will meet once in Cochin with Krish. So let me leave for.
Swamiji, you're most welcome.
Let me leave for the time being, and you can carry on with the questions shot by Krish and your presentation. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Swamiji, for being there.
Swamiji, thanks a lot for being with us and then asking quite a few questions. And I'm now wondering what question should I ask, ma'am. Anyway, the topic here is about the creativity and school leadership. And my first clarification on ma'am would be, we all look at the meaning of creativity, but in your opinion, what exactly is this creativity? I mean, we're all totally confused. For example, people think creativity is something too big, too large, too heavy that only few of us can create. And I don't believe. Start off with an anecdote saying that in one of those, soap factories, when they exported the soaps, it was exported to a foreign country like US, and US was actually checking how the quality of soaps were. In one of those boxes, there was no soap, it was only a box, and they rejected the entire material, sent back to the soap factory in India, and their contract was cancelled. So they were in a bit of a dilemma as to future dispatches. How do they check whether the packet really had a soap cake or not? The cake is not there or not. So there are a lot of brains used to talk. Let's buy this, let's buy X-ray machines, let's spend 5 lakhs, 10 crores, 25 crores. So every day morning, the production manager, the deputy managing director, the financial guy, all of them were discussing how do you stop this problem of sending just the cover without the cake. And it was going on 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day. And there was one guy, Pune, who gets coffee for all this meeting, what is going on for the last almost about 20 days. He asked, what's the problem? Then one of those managers said, it's none of your problem. They were a problem like this, sometimes the cake, sometimes the packet goes, the cake doesn't appear inside. And we have been rejected. We have lost so much of business with US, and we don't know how to curtail this in the future. And we are breaking a right. And it's a huge investment on putting across all those X-rays in the factory. And suddenly, out of the blue, this guy says, "Sir, what's your problem? This is a very simple problem. You can sort it out with no issues at all. And I would recommend that you buy some, those Almanord fans, huge industrial fans. Just keep it near the conveyor belt where the cake gets packed and comes. And whichever packet had no cake will fly off with the speed of it. So that's creativity. Yeah, that is, I would say this is a simple suggestion given to them. But for a company like that manufacturing soap company, this creative mind was something totally, they were all flabbergasted, they were all raising him high, and then, things happened. So in my understanding of things, ma'am, that creativity is not that, doing something great, like you go to NASA and, or go to ISRO, put up a rocket, create a rocket, send it up. No, I don't think so. A small change which can benefit the masses is creativity. But in your understanding of things, because you are the key person with a lot of creative mind, doing a lot of activities in your school, not just monthly ones or quarterly ones, I find, going through your profile, that every day you bring in some different creative thoughts in your mind. And how is that you're able to do it? The first question is, you define creativity as to what you think is the creativity. Number two, how do you get this creative mind in yourself? It's not that you can't produce those creative students and creative teachers. It's not like making some appams or chapatis or dal in home that you develop a creative mind. No, you can't do that. It has to be inborn. You have to develop in yourself. You have to inspire yourself that I need to do something different today. So question number one, what is creativity? Question number two, how do you imbibe this creativity mind in your teachers and in your students? Number three, how do you make, like, for example, you're the real true example wherein you have the thoughts of creativity coming day after day after day after day after day. Something you're into cooking, something you're into green, something else you're into sports, something else you're into some other competition. So, it's a day-to-day continuous different creativity minds, and which I feel is not that easy, because I feel that I've achieved something in my life by creating something new, and that's the end of the business. No, but your case is different, that you create everything, every day, every time new. How is that? A long question. You can take a long time to answer this. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Professor, for this appreciation and for these good words. Actually, first, I feel there should be some traits of being a creative leader. Basically, why I told that, in the beginning, that I'm a person who was passionate to spend my time with children. And I always think and tell everyone, maybe you are 45, 50, 60 or whatever maybe your age, but then you are dealing with children of the age of 15, 16, 17, 18, and they are passionate, they are born in a world of technology, and they have a different taste, and according to them we have to cater. And thinking the same, as we talk about rote learning, in the same way the rote level of thinking and making things was totally different for me. I was always, I in my team always have 2 or 3 things which I keep always in my mind, is that I always feel that I may be creative, but then I have to get the brainstorming from my people around. That's how I make my organization move on. That is the best, the major 5 creative leadership trait is that you have to first provoke themselves into action and then the people around them. That is what. And constantly you have to keep yourself imagining new possibilities and something rather than dictated by others. And as a leader, we have to have some, creative person. We should listen to the intuitions also. They sense things and listen to them. Intuitions without intellect makes a spontaneous person without direction. So creative leaders, get them working together, these 2 aspects. That's what I personally feel. And I'm basically a person who moves very fast. And every now and then, as you said today, I always ask my teachers when I brainstorm. I think it was a takeaway for everyone. In your story also, when you were talking about the creativeness, I feel from my security gate to the person inside my school organization, everyone has at some point you're creative, and everyone at some point has something to give you. So what I felt was that there is something to give you. So take it in that way. That is, you have to brainstorm. You have to understand that there are people who can give you, who can give you the support, and you will be able to. I mean, from their ideas also you can make it up. So. And quicker the stride, the greater the progress. And they make mistakes, but learn quickly and keep moving on. I don't think the people. I mean, what I do with my faculties is that I just diverted. I ask them. Everyone has a habit, especially among teachers. We have a habit of looking into the fact that whatever being prepared last year can be repeated this year again next year. Okay. Oh, suppose if it is a Onam celebration, last year we celebrated, so this year also we'll take up the paper and we'll do the same thing. But I always put a question across to my team and say, no, I don't want something which has happened last year. I don't want anything. We'll put in a different way. We'll do something differently, and we will ask. Even the children can be asked, so they will be, and there will be sparkling of ideas which we can accumulate together, and we can bring it. A leadership is not that you do something by yourself. It is like taking all of them into the stride, and together we succeed as a team. That's what I personally feel, and that is what my policy is, and that's why. And I
think it is stuck. It is stuck somewhere. Ma'am, it is stuck. Your voice.
No, it's okay.
It's okay now. It's okay now. You come back. Yeah, now it's come back. Yeah,
So
please carry on. Please carry on.
I personally feel the role of the creative leader is not to have all the ideas. It is to create a culture where everyone can have ideas and feel that they are valued. That is what I feel as the key word which I have been as a leader. I always felt it's like humility and being wrong, and humility and admitting mistakes are two very important qualities which I feel we have to embrace as a creative leader. And then by embracing humility, I feel you advance your organizations and yourself also, and even your people also. So, but it is not that humble leaders are not weak or meek, but secure enough to recognize their mistakes and seek others' helps or inputs. That's also, I feel that is a type of personality which I have, which I try to bring in my team also. And as a teacher or as an educator, we have to be creative, because unless and until you cannot think differently and you cannot inspire the people to think differently, you are not putting the major skill into the child. So that is very important. Is it? I mean,
absolutely.
Okay for.
Yeah, I agree with you, ma'am. I fully agree with you that whatever you said, I endorse in your statements. And my second question would be on, ma'am, do you believe in pushing that creative leadership down to the teachers, or you would welcome those creative leadership among the teachers and take it on to you? It's a pushing from top or thrusting from bottom to the top? I mean, you said it's a team, but as a principal, you have your own responsibility to, you have only 24 hours in a day to run the school, right? You don't have 36 hours because
Yes.
you're handling a 10,000 student school. So among all these commitments and responsibilities, do you take those suggestions from the teachers, or you giving suggestions to the teachers? And if so, if you're able to give suggestions to teachers and this way and that way, how do you get time for all this? Because creative thinking needs autonomy. You can't have so many things rushing into your mind, and you need time to think differently. You need to have time. You can't be doing multi-skilling and then thinking something in your mind. This is what I should do for Onam festival. So under these circumstances, how do you get time to think? And Whether you take it from the teachers, the creative, they give you suggestions, or you give them suggestions, they develop on. How is it done in your school, ma'am? This is a secret, then you keep it. But if it's not a secret,
I do brainstorming.
yeah. How do you do that?
To be very truthful, I think the thing is, people who are listening to me, who are very greatly associated to me, always tell that, you know, I only time, even at my home and outside, everybody says that I always keep on thinking differently. And that is, even if I travel, I do something, I always think what can be the next thing, what can be done tomorrow, and what can be done differently. And of course, I take ideas from the teachers also. And I mean, I take from my team also. I give them. Most of the time, it goes both ways, but then at times I think I'm passionate about it. I want to do things differently, beautifully, and somewhat to some extent I am perfectionist. I put my head into everything and try to learn there. That is it.
Good, good. So you put your head into everything and you learn from there is underlining factor of yours. And can you just share with us the recent creative thoughts which came to your mind? You shared with your teachers, you had a brainstorming session with your teachers. Ultimately, you brought it down into action. You know, most of us, we have creative thoughts, but putting those thoughts into action, that's more important. Implementing it is more important. I want you to share the recent, any such thoughts which came, you had discussion with teachers, and you implemented. Over to you, ma'am. You got my question, if I'm right.
Yes, I remember. I remember I had many experiences, but the wonderful part of which in my previous school, I was, I wanted to, it was during the Christmas time. And I still remember everybody was doing, like Christmas cake, either or a plant, decorating the tree, in the school. I said, no, we will do something differently. So they were getting on to me, ma'am, what differently? I said, think differently for one. Then I myself thought, something differently, we should have a record. So I think in the record books you can find our name, school's name performing. I said I wanted every child to participate in it. So they said, ma'am, it's how to make every child participate in. So I called my art teacher, I called my team of teachers, and I asked them, can you draw this big Santa Claus on the ground? So they said, how come? I said, we can try, let us try. And we can arrange, the total Santa Claus, how he comes to the head part, the beard part, everything, different color of dresses to be managed for children. And that stitching has to go on, nearly 2,500, 2,000 children coming onto the ground and doing that. And it is going to be the record also, because you have seen small Santa Clauses. They dress up and they come and perform, but together as a whole, the whole thing, it will be a very difficult task to do, and especially with children. And there was only I think nearly 4 or 5 days left when I thought about it. So that.
Yeah, I think again there is a small little break. Yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah,
okay now?
Yeah, okay now. Okay. Sometimes, the net plays.
Yes. So,
that's okay now. That's okay.
I felt. So I felt how, I always tell my team, which I want to I want people who are listening to me also to take back to their own place of wherever they work in or wherever they put in their effort. When they talk about only a few hours, ma'am, only 1 day left, madam, only 2 days left. I said, you have 48 hours before you, 24 hours, how many minutes and how many seconds you have. So it's possible, everything. Don't look at the problems or take it as you have a solution for every challenge. And when we keep our mind positive, everything is possible. So I remember within 3 days, we got our clothes stitched. We made the children wear it, practiced for 3 days. And the whole big Santa Claus was formed in the school ground, and it went into the Guinness records. And it was after when the teachers started doing, at first they had a problem. Afterwards, when they started seeing this, and when this whole thing happened, the parents and the students and the teachers were so excited, and they said it's a great message. knowledge that, time is not a factor. When we think together, we can do anything which is possible. So this is what my methodology usually, when I do things, I do like that. And I think, Professor Chris, that, yeah, if you think from the, if you cross your possibility curve, only you will be successful. Otherwise, you will not be at any time that taskless. I cannot, and it's not possible. You can never be a creative, and you cannot be different. This is one of my experience. I have many experiences when I do things. Even in the COVID season, when there was holiday, when there were holidays. I mean, when this first thing every school started would have been, how to teach on online, right? Because how to take classes on online. But we started with our own fest called Sprouts, Sharada Fest, when nobody thought about starting a cultural fest of a school as the beginning of the academic year. We have already completed before the academic started. I said, why do you give us stress to children by giving this every day, that is the content matter of what is there into for them to learn. First, let them compete and get associated with each other at home, get connected through the platforms of Zoom, Google Meet, and have competitions. So we had even empty number of programs. I think nearly to 100 type of competitions we had. Then only actually even the government and other organizations started taking online classes. So these are all what I felt was a motivation factor for everyone around.
Absolutely. I want to just ask you a last question on this creative leadership for schools. If a new teacher joins your school and she comes to you and says, ma'am, please let me know what are the 3 qualities that I must imbibe in myself to be a creative leader. Because for me, it's not just the principal who is the leader in the school. I think the teachers, everybody who takes control. You may be the top of the leader, but then everybody is a leader by herself or himself. So a teacher looks at you and says, ma'am, you've always been thinking something different, something new. I also want to follow suit. You are my role model. Please let me know as to how I could imbibe 3 major qualities in myself to be a creative leader in the future. Over to you, ma'am.
I know you have put me into a different.
I have not put you into any situation.
Okay.
You have to share first knowledge, talent, skills. Wherever you are seen, tasted success, it has to be shared.
Okay,
so you have to share. You can't be just saying, I put you into this, put you into that. You need to share. Because it's your teacher who's coming to you and asking you a question. And her contribution to your school will lift your school up to further higher heights. Why not? So over to you, ma'am.
Yes, true.
I'm trying to.
As a new person, when you come to an organization and you ask about this, I say that make ideas which come true to you. It's about the teachers you have to first identify your strengths and weaknesses and understand where you are strong at. Concentrate on that strong points. And then what I would like to tell them is that, you have to, whatever you do, act with passion and purpose. That is what. And then, always think about, how you can be different and accept what others around you have to say to you. Sometimes an idea which is given by someone can sparkle you into another thought, and it can be a breakthrough. Usually people, what I feel is that mental block which everyone creates through feeling that I am the ultimate is the one which kills the creativity in yourself. And basically what I felt was every mistake or everything where you fail, you learn something new, which will make you a more creative person in the next time. That's what I have to share with my people.
Thank you so much, ma'am. There's a question before I leave on to the next talk of yours. One Ashish has asked you a question. Ma'am, what would you tell the teachers on how to shape the students of the current generation for the future and how to tackle the future problems and be prepared for it? So this is a question from one Mr. Ashish. Thank you for asking, ma'am, this question. You'll get a wonderful answer for you, which will be more convincing. I have an answer, but I would leave ma'am to answer this. That would be more convincing than me answering your question. I'm sure.
No, I think, Chris, you can support me, but still.
Yeah, I will. I'm always there to support you. I'm just not I'm always beck and
It's
call
for
of yours. Anytime I'm there
Uh,
to support you, ma'am.
I
Over to you.
wanted to make the session somewhat light. That's why.
No. I love doing that too. So
Ashish, it's fine that you ask me such a question. First of all, remove from your mind that it is you are to be a mentor for a student. You have to be a mentor for a student. And when you say that how to shape the future, presently, when you look at the psychological aspect of present day generation, what I feel is there is nobody to listen to them. Only people who can tell them that you do this, do like that. You listen to every child and guide them and be a mentor and facilitator and inspire them with the thoughts. That is how I feel good. As a parent also, you can be a good mentor. As a teacher also, you can be a mentor. I always felt that is how. And if anybody asks me any challenges I faced in my life as a teacher was when everyone says that this child cannot be corrected, or he is, I said, when you point a finger on the child before you, are you able to be a role model for them to show that yes, I walk the talk, which I do. So I think that is why the present generation at times is not not able to cope. But I'm sure if you can be a mentor, if you can be a good listener, you will be able to guide them and put them into the right thought and process. That is what I meant by the what you wanted to listen from me, what you wanted. I think when Professor Chris also adds up to his views also, I'll be happy to hear from him.
My only wish, I wouldn't like to add anything more or detect anything from your points, but my question is whether are you admitting some new mentees for you to mentor? If you're taking some mentees, I would like to come as a mentee for you and be part of your training programs in the future. So thanks a lot, and we move from the leadership to creativity to leadership and creativity towards the most sorted after topic, and a burning topic today is about competency. Right. Competency, I don't know how you define competency. If you look at my designation for Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, I think career competency development is my department. So this is for the higher education. This is for the engineers, masters in business administration. So that's the different types of competency building. But ma'am is going to talk about competency-based learning, right? And she's a veteran.
Learning.
She's a veteran expert in this. You can Google herself into this, and this is something new which will come through in the new educational policy, right? We are going to be on outcome-based learning or something like that, ma'am. So what do you mean by competency? Well, it's all well said, competency. What is competency?
I'll tell you. Before going to that, I think is there with the video which ma'am will be able to play it for me before I start this?
It's a less 1 minute video. If you can play the video, we'll be very happy to see the video, and then ma'am takes on. There it is. Yeah, is it on? The sound has to be on.
अब अपनी लाइफ का एक मिनट रिवाइंड करो और सोचो, जब मैंने ये सवाल पूछा, किसी ने ये सोचा कि आज कुछ नया सीखने को मिलेगा, मजा आएगा? एनीवन? सर? नहीं, सब रेस में लग गए। ऐसे पढ़ के फर्स्ट आ भी गए तो क्या फायदा? आप लोगों की नॉलेज बढ़ेगी? नहीं, सिर्फ प्रेशर बढ़ेगा। अरे चाबुक के डर से तो सर्कस का शेर भी उछल के कुर्सी पर बैठना सीख जाता है, लेकिन ऐसे शेर को हम वेल ट्रेन्ड कहते हैं, वेल एजुकेटेड नहीं।
क्लास एजुकेशन 4 दीवार और 6 घंटों में सीमित नहीं है। वैसे सर, स्कूल के बाहर जब जिंदगी इम्तिहान लेती है तो सब्जेक्ट वाइज नहीं लेती।
तो मिस माथुर, अब इम्तिहान उनका कम और आपका ज्यादा है, और आप चाहे ना चाहे वो इम्तिहान तो क्लासरूम में ही होगा, वो भी एग्जाम डे पे।
Thank you, ma'am. 3 Idiots.
Yes, a famous movie, and also it is everyone knows about it, but I wanted to take up from there because as he asked the question, the competencies are we, and as in the next part is a movie which I want others, if the teachers are here, they would watch which is a very famous movie. If you don't understand Hindi also, you should see that, because there is a big question asked. The question is that education what we are getting inside the 6 hours or into these 4 walls of the classroom is what matters, or it is, you know, in the life when you jump into your life after your schooling, after your educational process, what we are assessed for. That's a big question. So competency-based education it's the approach of teaching and learning more often used in learning the concrete skills than abstract learning. I remember, sir, that, you know, when you talk about competency-based education or learning, it is to ensure that proficiency in learning by students through the demonstration of the knowledge or the skills or the values and attitudes which is required for dealing with real life situation at the age and grade appropriate level. Now, when I talk about this, I'm remembered about an incident in my school life. That is when I was walking back from a meeting today. I was just recollecting to share with us the people, those who are listening to me. I remember as a girl, I'm a child of in the classes of 5 or 6 when I was learning. And I have seen the outskirts of Indian Gaon, or where where there was even now girl is not treated equally with a boy. I have seen that situations. Of course, I was not in a family where it was like that, because my father had a great trust, and I was luckily blessed to have such parents. But wherever we listen, this is not for girl. This profession is not for girl. This is not like that. And even I used to hear to all these things, and there were people who were in my classes who used to discuss about it as a small child. But suddenly I remembered, one day one of my teacher who came to my class, and she had to teach, and that she was a teacher who came as a substitution period, and she was basically a history teacher and also a very good in Hindi. So she asked, next chapter kya hota hai? Then what is the next chapter for? Then we said it is independent struggle. So she asked us, what is that independent struggle all about? We said first war of independence. So she said, who are the leaders? Everybody started telling about, Tandia Tope, Nana Sahib, lot of all this. And then she said, no women, there were no ladies or no women who participated in the freedom struggle. So the boys and girls started brainstorming. And suddenly she said, some children were, they're pointing out many names, but then she said a sentence, she said a word like, खूब लड़ी मर्दानी वो तो झांसी वाली रानी थी, बुंदेले हर बोलों के मुंह हमने सुनी कहानी थी. This is the sentence which I heard when I was a child of 5th standard or 6th standard. And immediately in in that age, which went into, then she started explaining, being a girl in her childhood, how she was molded and what are the learnings which she was given, which made, which came to be very, very contributory at the time of First War of Independence, when India had the first war of mutiny in 1857. And even people take her also with a pride even now. So immediately the sparkle was that every war, whether it is a girl or a boy, you have to fight your own war, and you have to improve upon your competencies, and anything which is possible by the other person is possible from you. I think that was the learning unknowingly the teacher has given to me, and that was the value, or that was the in an Indian way of life skill which he imparted to me, which came to be very useful at many juncture of my life when I became an administrator, when I had to fight my own war of struggle in administration. I think I did not give up thinking that when you there is no such demarcations. So whatever learnings or things you give it in a content to the class, it is not the volume of content, it is the way how you are imparting to the child to get the best outcome, so that it will be useful for his life exams. It is not that everyone is given the same paper as in what comes in the WhatsApp, the question paper may be same for your maths, English and all, but for the life exams you have different question papers to answer. So you have to develop from your learning. And today when in the morning I was so happy to listen to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, when he was addressing today morning in the National Education Policy, he was telling first we have to learn to read and then read to learn. That's a competency which we have to develop. And in the classrooms, the thinking has to be encouraged. So teachers have to be very specific in finding out that what is the, when I have a content in my hand, how I have to put it across to the child to bring about the best outcome from the proficiency in learning. We talk about mathematical thinking, or that doesn't mean that it's a problem solving. It is the way of thinking, that logical thinking, the mathematical way of thinking. And even now, this competencies, when we talk about, can I ask, I mean, I have a simple question in my mind which comes to me. I'm a person who did my post-graduation in English and a post-graduation in economics. But in my everyday application, I use science, I use maths, I use different analysis. Even as a doctor also, I need my financial skills. I need to, I need to financially understand that what are all my, how I can manage my money, how can I my investment. It is not that one subject is different from another. All subjects are interlinked. When we teach, we have to integrate. We have to, to get the best outcome, we have to integrate everything, and we have to develop the child. And we have to make the child the brainstorm and create, suppose many of us talk about, I remember whenever you go for an interview and you ask the teachers of the primary, please tell us a story. Everybody says thirsty crow. I think the crow is, and yesterday or day before yesterday in the WhatsApp, I have seen that thirsty crow is opening even the tap now and drinks water because the old pot and the stones have gone. So it's gone. So that is the different. Is it not that the crow was at that time, when in the thirsty crow story itself, the crow was very critically thinking. The crow has the problem solving skill. It had what you call it as the creative thinking to bring the pebbles, put it there, and then critically it analyzed, it solved the problem. And emotionally, the crow was very balanced, because it did not, when it did not get water, it knew that how to get water and drink, and emotionally it was not broken down. So these are all, that story I have taken as an example for you all, people who are listening to me, to understand that we have to equip our children also to think with all these skills in life: critical, creative, curiosity, and then the ability to communicate things. And today, when when he was talking about, the Prime Minister was talking about, he was addressing, which those who have not heard him, is that the story of Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. He was telling, he has not learned English in his childhood days, but when he was traveling with his father one day back to Calcutta, on his way there were milestones written that it is much, how many kilometers to Calcutta, how many kilometers to reach. So he asked his father to read for him. So father said it's 1 kilometer, 2 kilometer, 3, now 15 kilometers left, or 16 kilometers, first 16 kilometers, then 15, then 14, 13, 12, like that. And now, so during that time itself, he learned that how to, this mathematics and thinking of, that English also, because it was written in English. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that writings he learned. So it is, and by the time the journey is over. So this is that we always feel that, what is more important is we are not stressing on that, but we are leaving away what is important for the child to take back after a particular session is over. In the session, we are more on to the content and covering that part. We have to understand that we have to learn, relearn, unlearn and relearn things, and everything should be connected. Suppose when we talk about learning outcomes and the competency based learning, all the skill has to be combined in the classrooms itself to give a child the total outcome when he comes out of his learnings. This is why when the PISA assessment has taken place in us, we also were the participant of PISA assessment program, where the students assessment is done. We were at the second last country in the world. That is where, because our learning outcomes were not strong. It is not based on the competencies. It's not based on the set of skills and abilities and knowledge which we have to acquire in the due course of time. So and that is, after the learning process has been completed, the student has to demonstrate the outcome of learning, and the student has to, and what the classroom transactions activities that will become the basis for this kind of different of outcome learning is the pedagogy of the teacher. And when you teach also, the teachers have to understand that you have to, in the due course of time, give assess on and assess directly, indirectly, through different multiple assessments, which is open for you. It's a formative way, and where the teacher's planning has gone wrong, where the outcome has not come according to what they have planned, you have to adopt another methodology and see that the child comes out wonderfully well. And at what level it should be, and what is the sum total of the learning which happens, that is called as competency. When you put all these things together, the curriculum, how the pedagogy, the assessment, and the testing, and that is all together. When you do it perfectly, okay, it is competency based. And the new age of learning requires 5 E's, which I would like you to all to know, is that engaging, exploring, experience, express, and excel. That is very, very important. And in whatever happens in the classes, in the schools, when you're in your classrooms, you have to understand that our children need these 21st century skills, which is mostly focused on critical, creative, collaborative, curiosity, and communicative. Even when, for examples, I can give you a few of the examples for the teachers to understand. Suppose you take a student for a nature trip, or you take them to, you should take them, because they should smell the the environment, they should smell the trees, they should smell the small birds, hear to the music of the birds, the singing, all these things they should experience. And when they come back, you have to ask them how many years of how many birds you have seen, what was its colors, what was observations, how it was different from other one, what different varieties of plants you have seen, and how you see there the brainstorming happens. There they are getting strong to the nature, they develop an affinity to the nature, they understand what is the importance of environmental. So what and all you are incorporating in the same small topic of a simple visit, and how the child comes out with different learnings and how his attitudes and values change. In the corona situation, when you are talking to the online, when you talk about mask and all, you have to tell them about how to care their elders at home. That is also a learning for them. So these are all, we have to bring out these competencies. The teachers have to connect with the real world. They have to see that the child understands that it is, the child's learning gap is being plugged in, and the child, see, when you yourself, those who are here, they may be, you have learned many subjects in your school days. I remember you might have learned even, remember a student asking the teacher, when you talk about excretion or the waste and all in the biology chapter, is vomiting can be in which category? So it is sometimes you might have seen, many of the teachers will say, what foolish question you are asking, but you should not. You should not, because it is not the way. It is like, the vomiting is not the way, like it's not excrete. It's like it is what is that when you teach biology and you make the child understand about the physiological changes and the biologically what is happening. The morning what you, the toilets, what we do is that it's an excretion of and vomiting is totally different. It is not the way. It is the body are not able to digest. So it is not that. So the difference the child has to understand. And I still remember in my classes, biology teacher, when talking about the chapter of reproduction, the first 2-3 lines were taught, and then the teacher said you read. Then all the discussion goes among the children, what is this? So this is, when you tell them, you have to involve them in the learning process and encourage them to think and encourage them to brainstorm, encourage them to experience some of the, whatever the learning outcomes they take. So learning happens from life experiences, and never at importance. I want all of you to understand that the role of the teacher in building the competency is very, very important. As you know that how much of technology has come in and how much of technology has creeped into, and as you know that aeroplane every year, every now and then it is being modernized, and you have finding different type of aircrafts coming in, but you need a pilot to drive that aeroplane, right? So however the technology will progress, however the role of the teacher as a person, this is my question to Azhar also, who was asking me, Ashik or someone who asked me the question before, the role of teacher is not the person. We are the people who have to take these children to land safely and to land up to the rise and land up safely, and we are the people who are driving this plane of children. So it is teachers' importance is very, very important, and the competent attitude, skills and knowledge combines together and competency arises. So you students' learning has to be measured. The competency based education, the students' learning has to be measured, and then the time. Every child has a specific learning time. So you cannot be, fundamentally the faculty's role has to change when you have to come to the competency based education. And I have to tell to every teaching faculty, you can do it, but define competencies and develop the valid, reliable assessments. Don't give always it should be very smart. I'm making it again clear for you. When you make a learning objective or when you write a learning objective, it should be specific, it should be measurable, it should be time bound, and it should be reliable and attainable. You cannot teach a child, when you take a session on in your class during different methodologies and you talk about rocket, you cannot expect the child to make a rocket immediately and to show you. It's not like that. So whatever is attainable and whatever is, that is the goals which you have to set step by step, and every child at different level has to achieve some competencies. But don't expect everyone to come to your level at the same time. There are different levels. There is where we fail. We are not giving the time for every child. We always say that, okay, we have finished a chapter. Okay, next exam, summative assessment over. We have assessed, and at the end after 10th standard, you turn back and you ask the child how to calculate what do you know about addition 25 plus 25. The child will have to take out the book, pen, everything, and then the child will end up writing wrong because the child is not thorough with what the concept is been learned. So more of a professional and a practical approach, where first of all it should be application based, and it should be beyond mere accumulation of knowledge from textbooks. You have to go beyond that. The school should be beyond walls. I will say it should focus on beyond walls. You have to. So please make the child imagine, make the child to develop curiosity, have the child to be independent, collaborative, and I would say collaborative skill is very important for 21st century. The child should be able to collaborate with others. It's a teamwork. It's how to collaborate. All these skills should come to in the competency based learning in your schools. And then most importantly, teach the students in the competency that they have to handle themselves. Then in life, instead of teaching to test, they have to handle themselves. It is, to make the life beyond their textbooks. Traditional learning approach doesn't give much of that, so we have to give that, and core competencies have to be checked. So the teachers have to bring out the best competency-based education. Your learning outcomes should be specific, smart. Your curriculum, pedagogy, your assessment also should learn to better reading. And don't think that a child doesn't understand is because the child doesn't understand because the child has a learning disability. No, it is the way you make the child, you teach the way the child wants to learn, not in your own ways. Most of us concentrate on that. That is not bringing out the competencies. So skill and what we have to learn is that the learner need to learn or know how to demonstrate the learning outcomes, and that is what mainly this competency based education when planned in schools, when planned by teachers, when planned by educators have to be concentrating on. It is not one factor, the total holistic development of the child, and the skills at different stages have to be achieved. And everything which you deal in your classes session wise, you should have a SMART objectives written, and it should be very much matching, and never think remedial teaching is teaching again. It is finding to the suit of the child's needs and catering to the child according to the tailored cut what he needs. And I'm sure if you do that, our children will be more competent to come out in life, and skill based is the learning which we have to give. And there also I have one important thing to tell, that any skill which is taught in the school will be useful at one juncture or the other. Maybe you are not in that profession, but that skill will naturally help you to in your lifetime. So these are all things which a school should take it on. Teachers should think differently. And of course, I have heard a lot of talks in the national education policy. I will add up we as innovators and creators, and if it's a big space given to us in that policy to bring out. And today when the Prime Minister was addressing, he said teachers are the people who have to take this flagship and put the national education policy and India on the top of every country in the short while from now. So such a confidence have been put on us. So we have to move into the path of competency based, very learning outcome based learning. And we have to be, assessment should be done for learning, and it should not be like off learning. It should be off learning augmented with learning, assessment as learning, and assessment for learning. So it is assessment should not be, it is an opportunity to demonstrate the learning, to check the learning of the student, to find the learning gap, and then to build up that gap. And so to integrate knowledge, this assessment should take place to integrate knowledge, skills, and attitude. It is not otherwise. Please understand, putting a test for exam and assessing the child on the basis of just one summative assessment is not the right assessment. And to quote one thing, when I was so happy to see the national education policies, one important clause, that is the suggestion, 360-degree report card, where I was reminded of this talk which PM was speaking today morning. That is, all our life is centering around the mark sheets. Competencies and outcomes have gone bad. We are all centering around the mark sheets. For parents, it is mental prestige sheet. And for students, it is a mental pressure sheet. It has become, this mark sheets have become. So let's move away from that and go on to concentrate that every time concentrating on the mark sheet and saying that you are bad and you're good. It should be outcome based, competency based learning, which has to be encouraged. Let our children be innovative, creative, collaborative. Let our children succeed by all these skills acquired from us. And we come to a generation where they are happy to live, and let us leave a world for them where happiness is the index which counts more. Thank you so much, Chris, for giving.
Thank you, ma'am. You mentioned about. I think your microphone must be muted.
No, it's okay. It's okay, sir.
No, it is echoing here.
Okay.
You have to mute your microphone, otherwise what I talk will again reach me back. So. Yeah, that's fine. So, ma'am, you mentioned about relearning, learning, forget things what you learned. All these things are fine. You also mentioned about 360 degrees. I just want to focus on 360 degrees. 360 degrees, in fact, it is almost 20 years. The corporates are trying to implement this, and still it is not on. So I don't know how they're going to implement this 360 degrees. That means your peer student will give you a mark, your teacher will give you a mark, you will do a self-assessment. It's all going to work, which has been tried by so many management gurus in the last 20, 25 years, or it's about 40, 50 years in US, that is 360 degrees. Is it going to be really, or is it just on a paper? I think it's just on a paper. I'm not trying to argue with you, but it's very nice to hear. It is very nice to hear about 360 degrees. You also mentioned about SMART, be specific, measurable, achievable or attainable, realistic, and tangible. All those things are fine. You also mentioned about unlearning, learning, and relearning. It's all, those funda words are very attractive. But when it comes to implementation, like, for example, today the problem is not these funda's words. Like today the problem is, for example, on NEP 2020. We are talking about close to about 10 lakhs, scarcity of teachers. Still, there are schools across the country where we don't have sufficient teachers. I have seen myself when I used to travel in Bihar and Orissa. You find 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th standard students sitting in one class and a teacher teaching different subjects to them. So when you are into that situation, when country has not progressed further, it's good. NEP 2020 good. How do you think all this will be implemented? Like competency learning we are talking about, fantastic. Now I'll just come back to the competency learning. You mentioned about 4 C's of the 21st century skills. One is the communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creative thinking. All these are fine. But today, if you look at, you also mentioned about teachers talking about the reproductive system, right? Oh my God, they talk of. Students will teach today, teachers, about the reproductive system. I mean, they know better how to reproduce than the teachers they can reproduce. This is the situation today because they come prepared to test how much the teacher knows. Today, Mata, Pita, Google, Devam. Everything is in the Google. I'm coming out of the subject. Creative thinking, critical thinking, collaborative, communication. Fantastic. But there are 2 more C's to it, which I'm sure. What steps are the schools taking to feel a true citizenship of our country? That's called citizenship. Right, the 21st century skill, citizenship. The second C which I would add is the character. Now, see, character building is something which is where do we find that character building? If you don't have a character, today you go to any school, if wealth is lost, nothing is lost. Health is lost, something is lost. If character is lost, everything is lost. 99% of the students, if I ask this question, nobody knows. And I studied in Kendriya Vidyalaya as much as you studied. But there, everybody talks about this. The character must be frozen and kept it, right, in a locker. Today, I don't think anybody. Today, if the parents don't give the wealth, the son murders the father. So all these confusions are there today. But we are talking about the NEP 2020. It's going to do this, it's going to do that. Fantastic. It's lovely. I mean, it has to be done. But when I look at implementing there, maybe next 10, 15 years, unless you bring in character, unless you bring in the citizenship, this is my country, my motherland. How many of our students believe that? Except for the selfishness that I should get first mark, I must get, best of the degrees, I must earn so much of money. I. And as rightly said, when your life is not complete unless you think of giving back something to your motherland, society. So why I'm asking you this final question to you is, ma'am, how do we inculcate these 2 C's of character and citizenship? Is there any role of these 2 into any of those NEP 2020? We used to have CCE earlier. CBSE has introduced CCE. It went for a big 6. Excellent. Excellent. CCE was so good. The formality, scholastic, non-scholastic, fantastic. Where did it go? It washed off. It washed off. It was there for 3, 4 years and it washed off. So I have a fear, unless you inculcate the importance of the charactership, I repeat, citizenship, I don't think all this formulation changes will make anything good for our country. And I know you are a creative minded personality. I want you to instill being a leader in one of the best schools, that the teachers and the students must, especially the teachers, instead of teaching them biology, chemistry, how much of importance do they give in teaching them how good, true citizen you are for your own country and what type of a character you must be? Over to you, ma'am. Now your mic is mute. Ma'am, mic.
I mean, you are 100% right. I'm with you for the opinion what you have put in.
This is my last question, so I'll ask such questions.
Yeah.
All right.
So no, it is a wonderful question, and it's a very thought-provoking one. And also, what you said was 100% right. Not only 100%, I always feel 200% right for that, because as you said, all these policies, even previous, we had many policies, and at the implementation level comes when there is a center, when there is a state, it's a concurrent list, and there are a lot of challenges which we face in our government sector. But that is true, and of course, how it's going to be NEP in 2020, if though we had a lot of ideas in it, and there are things which Indian culture, Indian heritage, Indian values, all being addressed to. But how much it goes to the child is a big question, and how the policies being now how the framing of these, I mean, when these policies become into the orders and government orders, how it's going to come and how we are going to do about it, it's a very big factor. But then I personally feel, I mean, always be positive in the sense that we as teachers, I'm not going the responsibility to anybody else. I'm giving the responsibility.
One interruption in between, ma'am. All
Yes.
this NEP 2020, it has no standing. It is not a notification. It's a suggestion.
Yes.
So tomorrow the government changes. This NEP 2020 can go into the cold storage.
Yes,
So,
yes.
you can't put it into Article 307, 402 as per the Constitution. NEP has no standing. It
No
is
standing.
no standing. So that is what my worry is. Sorry for interrupting.
No
If
problem.
it comes as a law, it comes as a rule, you can penalize people who don't follow that. But
Yes,
it is just a piece of paper.
Yeah, that is true. That is true, Professor. But then, of course, even if it comes as a rule or a law, and when we can penalize also, what I personally feel, we teachers, as I include myself also into it, that's the same thing which I was thinking about. And when the difference which I had in my, I always say, the beautiful, I mean, where we lost. I studied in KV, as you were also. We had a culture of students coming from all across places. We used to share food. We used to care for each other, and we really enjoyed the life. And today's generation, they feel that all have been self-centered, selfish, and even for to share the crayons, they need the permission of the parent whether I can share my crayon with the other child in the baby.
1 minute again. I'm sorry for it. You are right in what you're saying. My times, my mom used to cook food and she used to say, hey, keep that omelette for your cousin is coming, right? Your cousin is coming, keep that omelette. Today, the latest mothers, I mean, parents, who mentioned about parents, they'll say, hey, you eat your extra that, your cousin is coming, eat it faster, man. Otherwise, he'll come and eat. This is the change. Over to you. I'm sorry for interrupting in between.
Yeah,
Making
that is
it more
true.
interesting.
Even I was going to say that, parents are all become, one person cannot, I mean, teacher alone cannot. The parent and everyone should understand that when you teach a child when you bring out a child, when you rear a child, the child comes out without values, it's boomerang to them itself. At the end, you cannot say that these children did not, because you are teaching them at the selfish level. And in the school also, the teachers have to combine these values at every step, the citizenship, the feeling proud of being a, I even now, some of the time I have heard teachers asking, Independence Day is a holiday, Republic Day holiday, October 2nd is a holiday, can we sit at home? I remember in my school days, my teachers and my friends always felt, I remember that, we had yoga, we had a lot of programs, we celebrate the independence, we talk about independence.
And we get a chocolate. We get a chocolate when you go for flag hoisting.
I remember when I was in Calcutta, we used to go in the morning to get the rasgullas and gulab jamuns. And then when I came into, the Chandigarh, we see that, the puri and all that and we share with the friends, and we are so happy that after a program is being done, and we wait for these days. Where is that lost? That is lost. That we have to togetherly bring it back to see that, that feeling wherever you travel in this world, it's my country. It's how many of us, if we see a flag down in our country, takes it up and says, it's my flag, it's lying down. It's my country. How many of them say that it is my national anthem, I have to stand and respect and how is it that the hard earned independence is important, not to politicize even that independence and the struggle in the way. These are the values which we have to indirectly bring up from the child, from the lower level itself, because you cannot think of building that in the higher education. It has to start from the school, basic primary education, when you give the feeling for a country, the feeling for your motherland, which is very important. And I'm sorry when I'm wrong, I don't know anybody feels bad about it. Maybe I'm born to a father of who was in Air Force. I see in North India, when you travel, especially in Punjab and in that part of the country, everyone feels to pride to say that, wo mera beta fauj mein hai. मेरी बेटी फौज में है. But here, I mean, they are not proud even to say that in some part of the country, the people feel that, you're giving the child, whether you won't meet with an accident and you will die when you are in a car or in a vehicle, even that death can happen at any time. It's not that you serve your country, but I always felt, when you serve your country and when you serve and you die for your country, you can be at least lead a signature of yours in this lifetime, either than dying on the roads for an accident. That's what I always talk. And I always tell even to my daughter when I say, serve, if you get a opportunity, serve the country. You say, Amma, everybody as a girl child will say you work here or there, but you say that. I say that because, that feeling has been instilled in me, not by anybody else. It is by my father or my school. Majorly my school. It's not that what I have observed around and we have done it. So we have to be the people who can instill that type of feeling in every child and, be proud to be serving the country, be proud to be a part of any social commitments around us, to see the needy, to address to them. That's what I said. That happiness which we get from that, you cannot get it from outside. That is what the learning we have to do. I feel education has to be like that only. What you said.
Education, madam, for me, education, like getting 5-6 degrees is not that you're educated. You may become literate. But for me, education is this degree plus following certain values, ethos, culture, your behavior, all this forms an education.
Even you have to respect the environment where you live.
Before environment, respect your own parents. Yeah, come on, stage has come.
I remember automatically, even now, we stand when our parents come in at any juncture of, if you are sitting in the front room and your father and mother come in, we automatically stand and respect them because it's been instilled. But nowadays, we don't find that because it's like totally
standing. As you said about Punjab, as you said about North India, the moment the son sees the dad there, he bends down and holds his feet. Whatever it is, whether he's 60 years, father is 90 years, the first thing is just fall on his feet and seek his blessings. Even today it is being done. But where is all gone? And as you and me into the field of education, as you rightly said, you must inculcate this from the childhood itself. And as parents and teachers, you must be their role model. If you turn your head when you see your dad, this child also will turn her head when she or he sees you. So I think you as parents and teachers and educators, they will watch you, right? That they will keep watching you. They will just follow suit whatever you're doing. And I would like to end our discussions today with a lovely words of yours, which is going to come out now, not yet come out now, regarding whatever you want to say to our viewers. A couple of lines, what you like to really preach that can be practiced, put into practice. Over to you, ma'am.
I would like it's a wonderful, I wanted to tell everyone that it's a wonderful world. You have a lot of positive things around you. Make our children to think positively, learn positivity, to be cross the positive possibility curves, and let us together, parents, teachers, and together build a wonderful home for children outside, inside the school and outside this place, and give when we leave this world, let us give them a world which is full of joy, happiness, and where they enjoy the life of and they are happy that we left a world which they could live with a lot of love, care, affection in their heart, and empathy for people around, and let's give them values and let them the basic skills to them, and I'm sure they will make their life, they will be successful. It is we'll teach them the fight the life's war. It is not that mark sheets count everywhere. Mark sheets are not the one. It is just an academic factor which shows rest all the skills which matters in the life, and we together can do it. That is what I wanted to. And every time we have to think, one catchword is that when the caterpillar said that the world is going to be over, the butterfly came out. So every corona, every situations like this will have a lot of opportunities for us, and we will be learning new things and new possibilities in front of us. God has always created something in advance for us, so that some situations come like this, we have a solution in our hand. So we are taken care always. So believe that believe in ourselves, believe in yourselves, stand together and build a wonderful world for our children. Thank you.
Deepa ma'am, it is actually listening to you for the last 1.5 hours. It was actually an eye opener for me, right? So it is, let me open both my eyes, and I'm so happy that I couldn't ask you many questions because you are answering all my questions even before my questions had appeared. I don't know how you have that foresight. You know, okay, this is going to be my next question. A wonderful way of getting yourself engaged. So thanks a million trillion, whatever you call it, ma'am. It was very nice having you with us.
Thank you, Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, Mata Amma, and I have been in the birthday celebrations. I was lucky enough to be invited for one of the birthdays when I got my national award. So very happy I'm associated with such an organization. Values, attitudes count a lot, and more. And even I have to thank you, a very vibrant personality, a very loving personality, and a very motivating person, and above all, what do you call, the richness of the thought also is there with you, the Swamiji also, and giving me an opportunity, that this big platform. I'm humbled and grateful to this organization for hosting me today. Thank you so much.
I'm so happy that whatever I wanted to do a conclusionary lines on you, ma'am, you have put it on to us. So we reciprocate the same thing back to you, whatever you mentioned now. And it's time for us to wind up. Whatever begins well has to end well. And this is Medal Krish signing off from Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, Mettumedai, Coimbatore. Until we meet again, I think let's salute our soldiers. We are indeed happy. One more thing about ma'am, you being daughter of an Air Force officer, and very unfortunate that you didn't give an opportunity for your parents to say that my daughter is also an uniformed officer, right? I mean, But
then I am serving the children.
Yeah, that is so. The
service
is on, but I think you are a real fighter. Right. Thank you so much. So till we meet again, Jai Hind.
Thank you.
Namaskar.
Thank you. Jai Hind.